Oh my gosh. Hello beautiful humans, welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things embodiment, entrepreneurship and living your best delicious dream life. Today I want to open up about something that is very, very personal to me. I think it's time that I do a proper video about it, so here goes nothing. So today is all about my labiaplasty surgeries. So why I got labiaplasty, why I got 2 surgeries, was it before or after my kind of awakening process. I'm going to dive into the nitty-gritty as much as I can and feel comfortable with on this platform. And if any questions come up, please just feel free to DM me or leave a comment below and I will get back to them. So why did I do it? Why did I have this surgery in the first place? Something that I have found quite common since opening up to my girlfriends about it over the last couple of years is that this is something that most women think about, and I think it's because of porn and how it depicts women as having a perfect labia and just everything is aligned and small and just whatever that perfectionism ideal is. While I know now that this is not true, I did not realize that back then, and I didn't have anyone around me that I felt comfortable enough to talk to about it. So basically I grew up with quite large labia, so they were kind of triangular shaped and they just came out a bit more than what I thought was normal. And I was very ashamed of this. I was ashamed of going to the beach and having them come out of my bikini. I was ashamed of connecting with another person, a man or a woman, and them thinking that I was disgusting or gross or different. And for a couple of years there, I actually thought that I may be growing into a boy because I felt they were so big, and all I had seen before then was women in porn that had these perfectly little shaped labias, and I didn't know that you could have anything different. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know that I could go to other people and talk about this with them. I definitely didn't have a mother figure that I could go to about any of this stuff. Even when it came to my period, I didn't even tell her until after the first year was over, and I was just using toilet paper and I didn't even know how to use a pad or a tampon, let alone a moon cup, which is now my favorite thing ever. Yeah, I didn't have that kind of mother figure there. So I carried this burden with me through my puberty years, and I only opened up to one person about it before I decided to get the surgery, and that was in 2016. I opened up to my partner at the time, who I thought I was going to marry and fit myself into his tiny little box of a world. Thank God I didn't do that. But at the time, that was my everything. I was trying to escape my current life and I kind of just fit myself into his life, even though it was completely unaligned with my truth. It was a great experience to learn that, but it forced me down some paths that I regretted later on, and getting my labiaplasty under those conditions was definitely one of them. So basically I opened up to him about it. He was one of the first people that I had ever slept with while I was sober. Not that we slept together very much during our time together, especially sober, but we had sober experiences together. And I opened up to him one day about it and I asked him the question. I was like, is my labia too big? I didn't actually know that it was called labia at the time. I called them my flaps. So I literally said, yo, do you think my flaps are too big? And he was like, well, if you think they are, you should just get surgery. I don't blame him for the way he acted and the way that he acted through the process and after the surgery, but it definitely was a big factor in me getting the surgery because I thought that he wouldn't accept me. I thought that he didn't accept me. I already thought he didn't accept me because his family was incredibly religious and wealthy, and I didn't come from that background, and I always felt like they looked down on me and didn't accept me because of that. So this was just another factor. So I researched and found someone that Thankfully was a woman that was doing it, and she was very lovely about it. She actually was just about to retire. I think I was her last surgery, actually 2 surgeries, because I ended up having to go back for a second one because I wasn't happy with it. So I was her last patient, and I am grateful that it was a woman that I went to, and she has experience and she is very good at what she did. That, I guess, is why I got it. I felt uncomfortable in my body, and I felt ashamed and unworthy and unlovable. And they honestly weren't even that big now that I think of it. But at the time, it was just my focus. So, yeah. So leading up to the surgery, I had to take some photos from different angles to send in to her, and then also had doctors and nurses look at my labia before the surgery, after the surgery. And that was the most amount of times that any man had seen my yoni. Even going to her, that was the first time that a woman had seen my yoni like that. And the first time that I had seen my yoni, the first time that I had actually looked down there. And yeah, I was just met with so much shame and self-hatred. Oh my gosh. It was a process. It was a big learning, a big thing I had to face my hatred of myself in a time where I was also very depressed. It was a very pivotal time in my life, and thank God I came out of it in a healthy way, and everything turned out to be an amazing experience, and I'm grateful for the experiences and lessons that I've learned from that time. But yeah, it was a massive process, and if I could take it back, I definitely would. I put my body through so much trauma that she did not deserve and did not want. I believe that we're all born perfect, and we're all unique and delicious and divine, and we should just be able to talk about this more. This should be a conversation that kids have in primary school and high school. It should be a conversation that families have, that is a conversation in schooling systems, that everybody is perfect and you don't need to do a certain thing to fit in. Even now, going through my Tantra journey and coming into self-awareness and self-love and the body positivity movement that is all over social media, I am now able to see that there are so many different types of labias out there. There are so many different types of vaginas, if that's a word you want to use. I call them yonis because it is the Sanskrit term for it, and it combines the energetic with the physical. Vagina is technically incorrect. It's only one part of it. But now I see that everyone is different, and that is beautiful, and that is so delicious. It's good that we don't all fit into the same box, because it's not a thing. It's not how we're supposed to be. As human beings, we're all different, we're all unique, and that is what makes this experience of living life so amazing. So leading up to the surgery, I got a credit card to pay for it. I think it was only like $3,000, which was very, very cheap for that surgery, and I'm grateful that I actually found someone that was not only good value, but also really good at what they did. I definitely don't recommend finding someone that is cheap, because you never know what the outcome is going to be. So I went in, I didn't really tell anyone about it. I told my best friend, and obviously my boyfriend knew, and my doctors. My mother only knew because I had to be taken home. I couldn't stay at anyone else's place. She didn't have anything to say, and didn't do anything to look after me in the process, which was very strange. But I was very used to that by that point. So yeah, when I woke up from the surgery, I was vomiting pink liquid. I was completely out of it. I was on heavy, heavy medication. And my boyfriend at the time drove me back to my mum's house where I was living. And I basically stayed in bed for the first day or two and then forced myself to work. I was working on my feet at a retail store, so I definitely should not have been doing that. Shouldn't have been working, let alone standing up for 10 hours plus traveling for 4 hours every day to get to work. Super, super hard on my body, and I was still on pain medication, so I was kind of a little bit high, and that helped me ignore the pain. But I had to go to the bathroom every hour or so because I was in so much pain. It hurt every time I went to the bathroom. It hurt just even lying down, let alone standing up. I was quite numb, but also just in so much pain, and I had to wear a pad because there was bleeding from where the stitches were, especially considering I was on my feet and kind of ripping the stitches as I was walking around and bending over and doing stuff. So that obviously should not have happened, but at the time I was incredibly broke and I was living in a lack mindset environment, and that was what I did. So I worked normal hours after the first 2 days and was still at university. I also went back to uni that week, which I shouldn't have done. I was happy with the fact that I had done it, simply because I thought that now I would fit in more and be lovable. My boyfriend would maybe want to connect physically with me more. It was pretty crazy because he didn't really look after me at all during the process, but he did pressure me a lot to have sex. The only part of the surgery that he actually spoke up about was the fact that I was not able to have sex for 4 to 6 weeks afterwards. That was a long time for him, and that was what he cared about, and that's what he pressured me into. So after the first 2 or 3 weeks, I think, we had sex for the first time, and it was horrible, as you can imagine. I was still in so much pain and just still like swollen, and it was absolutely horrible. But at the time I was kind of used to that because I wasn't connecting physically, consciously. I wasn't really in my body at that time in my life, so that was kind of a normal. I was also like crying every single day because of the pain and because of the trauma. I think my body was also trying to communicate to me and I was trying to shut her down. But somehow I decided that I wanted a second surgery because the first one wasn't good enough. So there was just like a little bit that wasn't completely flat, and I wanted that to be flat. So I considered cutting it off myself, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back and get a second surgery done. Again, my boyfriend was like, yep, you should go and get that done. It's not perfect, it's not good enough. And I went and got the second surgery done. So this time was actually paid. She did it just out of pocket, which was so amazing. But yeah, I had to go through that again. So 2 surgeries in the same 3 months. I also got my tonsils out a couple of months after that. So 3 surgeries in the space of 6 months while I was graduating from university and having to work full-time plus be in a performance degree where you're on your feet and physically doing stuff and working towards a recital, which was a massive, massive deal, and singing all day, every single day, where after you get your tonsils out, you can't even speak for ages. It hurts to swallow water, let alone do anything else. So yeah, I put my body through a lot that year. That was kind of my final hurrah of numbing my body out and doing certain things. I kind of stopped drinking a lot after that as well, and just started my conscious awakening, I guess, after that process. So it was incredibly pivotal, and probably incredibly important for my healing and my growth, but I do not wish that upon anyone. If you are considering getting the surgery done and that is why you are watching this, please just do your research and try and come first from a place of self-love and healing, and see if you can love yourself the way that you are, because we're always going to have things we're not okay with. We're always going to have things we judge ourselves for unless we do the healing work first. And then if it's still something that you want to do, it's your body, so it's your choice. I may have still gotten a surgery if I had loved myself first, and it would have been a completely different process. It would have been a very different journey, and it would not have been nearly as traumatic. The place that I am today in my body, I believe that I would not have got it if I had done the work that I've now done before having those surgeries, before even thinking about it. I believe that I would not have gotten the surgery if I had done the healing work first. But if I did choose to still do it after doing that work, then it would have been a completely different process. It would have been out of self-love, and I would have been able to communicate with my body and do sacred ceremonies before and afterwards and have a really beautiful space set up. It's very healing and not straight back to the grind and straight back to a life that was making me miserable and depressed. And yeah, it would have been a very different experience. So if you are considering getting it done, do your research, find a good practitioner who you trust, who you're open to. Again, it is your body, so it is your choice always. Don't let anybody tell you differently. But again, try and do the healing work first. See if you can love yourself and accept yourself first, and embrace your uniqueness and embrace your individuality, because that is what makes you so delicious. It is what makes humans so delicious, and I really think that it's important that we come from that place first before doing any body modifications. In terms of what it is like now post-surgery, there is some more sensitivity. There is also parts that are less sensitive. Obviously there's less tissue. So those pieces of tissue that don't exist can't be sensitive. I probably actually lost quite a bit of my sensitivity from that because I was very sensitive around my labia, and now there's a lot less of it, and a lot of it's scar tissue. It definitely also carries some trauma with me from the process that I am still working on healing. That is also part of why I am celibate now, because I don't want to connect physically with someone who cannot hold that energy and cannot bring a pure, healing, clear, positive energy into my womb space. I believe that when we physically connect, we take on all of their trauma, especially as a woman being penetrated. We take all of their energy literally in, and we hold it there, and it's there until we choose to release it, or we go through the healing process from possibly some traumas that has brought up or instilled in us. So yeah, that is basically the story. Again, if you have any questions, please leave them below or DM me on Instagram. I would love to hear from you and help you with any part of the process. If there's anything else you want me to share, I can make more videos about it. I appreciate you being here on this journey, and I appreciate you tuning in. As always, if you want to support this channel and support me and support this information getting out there to the right people, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new, and share it to a friend that might be in need of hearing this. And yeah, I will see you next week. Sending you so much love, beautifuls.